The impact of that day lives with me forever, unfortunately. The survivor's guilt is always there, wondering if I could have acted faster. And now that I'm an amputee, it's even more of a constant reminder because my injury is visibly noticeable now.
The impact of that day on me and on my fellow New Yorkers and the whole world, I'm still wrestling with. I remember seeing footage of people in cities all around the world crying, and New Yorkers are often, we know where a lot of people hate us, but they didn't then.
As we approach the 20-year anniversary of the attacks on 9/11, it has me really reflecting and remembering. I'm thinking about where I was that day in French class at St. Anne's School in Brooklyn. I think every kid in the city really grew up that day, and it changed. The city wasn't a playground anymore.
When I think of the military families and communities whose lives were transformed on that day and from that day forward, I think about sacrifice, and I think about how selfless it is to be in our military. I think about the fact that I could never do what they do.
After the rubble was cleared, it was just the beginning of a long fight for the military. So we have 20 years to be grateful.
So many of us are struggling because we don't have people to talk to, or we don't know how to deal with a lot of things that we went through. And the problem is we feel like it makes us weak to talk about things that are painful or things that mentally we struggle with.
We thought deeply about, what about all these family members? What about the forces? What about the veterans? What are the people that are serving the country?
That became the impetus for starting this foundation. And 15 years later, we are so honored to do the work that we do to help families and veterans in that transition to the home front.
People in the past, either they died or they lived. Now we got the kinds of wounds that made it much more complicated to deal with. Many of them invisible. We thought, well, let's start a foundation because so many Americans want to do something for them.